on, everybody dance with me. Can you hear it?
Welcome to Read
Shawn,
My Lips Radio, a lively hour of unscripted conversations with savvy creatives.
Shawn.
Producer and host, aka Radio Red,
Suzanne,
asks novelists, artists,
Magee
photographers,
lady moving.
designers, comedians, actors, musicians, composers, screenwriters, directors, and technology innovators about their creative passion, inspirational muses, and how they create. Ooh, how those lips can talk. Now, here's AKA Radio Red.
Thank you to the wonderful voice who introduces me in that spiffy music. Picked that many, many years ago. I'm Radio Red in the house. Happy to be here. It's Monday. Where in the world else would I be? Except for legal holidays, we're here every darn week. And it's my privilege and my pleasure and my joy to speak with people who sometimes don't even know that they are creative. So you are all officially, Kathy and Shawn and Suzanne, you're all officially aka Radio Red's creators with a capital C on creative. That's because I don't know about you, but I didn't come out of my mom with a little handbook on everything I was going to do in my life. I had some free will in here, and I'm doing all kinds of interesting things like talking to all of you here on live streaming. Everybody wave hello to LinkedIn, wave hello to Facebook twice. I have 2 channels, and wave hello to YouTube. Now, I need you to all join me in doing something before we really start the show. I want you to put up your hand in the shape of the letter L. I don't care which hand, which direction. Come on, Suzanne, hand. That's it. And on the count of 3, we do a lot of counting here. You're going to join me in saying hello, LLL. Let's see if you can keep the timing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Hello,
Hello.
L,
L.
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 Jordan, they're tied for second place. They could have done a little more in sync, but we really didn't practice. LLL is lovely, lanky Laura Leggs, our most loyal listener. I met her at a dance class. I used to teach, but I was taking a lesson. I met her. We've stayed friends for about 15 or 20 years. The problem, Kathy, Shawn, and Suzanne, is that lovely, lanky Laura Leggs, our most loyal listener, lives in Whitestone, New York, and it doesn't start with an L. And I've been trying to get her to move to, I've been researching populations and happiness and all that. I'm in Loudon, Tennessee. Don't even ask how a New York girl got here. I'm still trying to figure it out. You know, somebody said to me, what's your story? And I said, I look in the mirror every day and I try to figure that out too. Okay. But she's still happy in Whitestone and she listens. Now at 6:01 p.m. Eastern time tonight, I'm going to get a little report on what you said, Shawn, on what you said, Suzanne, and what you said, Kathy. She's going to send me, she's going to say, hello, beautiful, gorgeous lady of red. I love the show. This is what Shawn said. This is what Suzanne said. This is what Kathy said. She's been doing this for years, and I'm very, very happy to get these. So we know it's all real. So I have, let's see now. We are at, where are we in the calendar? Today is June 16th. I don't know where the darn year is going, but it's just flying and flying and flying. Shawn agrees with me. This is the 167th day of the calendar called the Gregorian calendar in the year 2025. And we used to have the Julian calendar, but Kathy, if you had a birthday in the beginning of October, you wouldn't have had it because he didn't know how to count those leap days, leap years. And so he was missing about 10 days in October. Gregory came along, Gregorian. He's a pope. I have to respect him. And he said, I have an idea. We'll add 1 day every 4th year, and then we'll be in sync with the moon, and we'll have a wonderful calendar. And we got our October back. I'm an October baby, so I'm very, very glad, but that was a long time ago. 198 days left to the year. I haven't started giving out my warning yet, Shawn, on end of year. It's like if you're going to be drinking champagne or making some kind of fruit punch or something, get to the store and get it soon because the shelves, you know, we're all happy to have another new year. It's the 24th Monday, and nobody cares about that except me. So I'm going to do my introduction now, and I have to make a little disclaimer here. In honor of one of my guests every week, I pick up a theme for the episode title. And the title today is The Gutsiness of Creativity. And one guest on this panel knows who she is, uses the word gutsy. Now, I looked up the word gutsiness. It is actually a Scottish English noun that was first used in 1893 by a British lexicographer and writer named John Stephen Farmer and his co-writer, William Ernest Henley, who was a poet, writer, critic, and editor. And what's Farmer's claim to fame is that he wrote a 7-volume dictionary called Slang and Its Analogues. And he wrote it from 1890 to 1904. That's quite a commitment, isn't it? And gutsiness can be described as courage, bravery, fearlessness, pluck, grit, prowess or prowess, nerve, heroism in a person's character, actions, or overall personality. Would you all like to say that you're gutsy? Suzanne and Shawn, you want to join Kathy in gutsy? Okay, we'll get to why Kathy uses that word. So here is my opening, and when I call your name, these are my gifts to all of you. Please just wave. Welcome to Cool Conversations with Creatives on our radiant stage, where insight sparks and muses step off the page. akaRadioRed on her Scarlett mic bright guides the conversation in her live streaming light. Today she honors the gutsy, the brave, and the true, three creatives whose passions shape all they do. Kathy Allan RN, Suzanne Magee, and Shawn Fry gather round, sharing their bold wisdom where creativity is found. Kathy, now wave hello. And Ann Arbor's warmth with ideals running deep. Kathy Allan saw politics where respect would keep. Inspired by JFK, she answered the call. Nursing in Taos, Kathy gave it her all. She stage managed dreams in Hollywood's light. Did stand up with spark and fierce healing insight. From trauma to justice, Kathy's walked through the fire. Now gutsy nurses fuel her mission and inspire. Kathy, I hope you like that.
Oh my gosh, it was fantastic.
I'm very glad. Now let's go on to Suzanne. From Canada's heart with purpose and poise, Suzanne Magee helps workplaces rise above the noise. She founded Spireworks with a bold and clear aim to spark inspired cultures and shift the workplace game. She bridges the gap where leaders once stalled and shows how alignment can keep them enthralled. A mom of three, twins too, with balance, insight. Suzanne guides with compassion and practical might. I hope you enjoyed that, Suzanne.
Oh, I love it. Thank you.
I'm glad. You're very, very welcome. And Shawn is here from West Virginia with wonder in hand. Shawn Fry dreamed of systems and taking a stand. An engineer, author, and a growth pioneer, he leads with frameworks both bold and clear. Across 60 sites, he's reshaped the game with heart-led success as his constant aim. No family left out, no vision too high. With Shawn, sustained growth truly can fly. Shawn, what'd you think?
Oh, that was fantastic. Yeah, great job. Yeah.
I'm glad. I'll tell you later how we got these. And I'm going to add my closing here before we get started. So gather round where the cool vibes sway. Everybody sway a little bit. You're all cool. We got the vibes. Oh, they take directions. Great. As we dive deep into creativity today, akaRadioRed's Roundtable lights the way. We hope to inspire you. I always cry at this one. We hope to inspire you to live large, love life, and play. So how'd we do? What'd you think?
Fabulous.
Great job.
Love it.
I'm glad. I was at another publicity summit, virtual summit last week, and I told people I had a gift for them with a rhyming bio overview of their story, their origin story. And people came to meet me in the breakout rooms and they said, I want the gift. I want the gift. I said, well, you got to get on my show first. And that's just fine. I have a co-writer named Sylvie, and I'll tell you later who she is, but she's French. And we speak in French, and sometimes she writes in French too. But I keep reminding her I'm mostly English, although I can speak and write some French. She's much better at it. And I send her your bios, hundreds of words, and she sends me back a draft of the rhyming version. And then I review and I go back to your bios and I sometimes say, no, you missed something. No, we didn't get that part. I want that Shawn part. No, we didn't. And we go back and forth and I end up writing and finishing off the rhymes and making sure that we got all the, I'm so glad you all enjoyed that. So what I'd like to do now is I'm going in this order, Kathy, and I love you all, but somebody had to be first, second, and third. Kathy first, then Suzanne, and then Shawn. I'd like you to spend just a couple minutes telling us, what did I leave out of your overview of your introduction? Is there anything you'd like us to know? And just take a couple minutes. Kathy, I'm putting you on speaker view, and everybody's going to get to see you and your gorgeous hair. And I want you to tell us a little more about what is Gutsy Nurses. Welcome, Kathy Allan.
So nice to be here with you. And I just want to say to the person who wrote that introduction, vous êtes très gentil, which is French. It's French for you are very nice in your introduction.
And Sylvie and I are going to respond to you, mille bisous, 1,000 kisses back to you. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you.
But tell us a little more about yourself. Go ahead.
Gutsy Nurses is something that I developed because I was very, very concerned about what's happening in healthcare today. how nurses are being exploited and worked too hard. And I thought there's got to be a way to change that. So I studied all about how people can get traumatized. And when that happens, people sometimes don't have the ability to fight back. And so nurses are not really fighters. We're really lovers. We work from the heart. And so I developed a program for them that will support them in the work that they do. And we're talking about creativity. And many people think creativity is just, art and writing and acting and all that. But nurses are the most creative people, nurses and doctors and other healthcare workers, because we take patients and help them to feel safe, help them to feel like they have hope and that they want to continue to live. And that's a real art. Not everybody has that. And nurses are really dedicated to that art of nursing, which is an extremely creative process. So.
Thank you. That's lovely. And how did you choose the word gutsy? Obviously, I took to that word very strongly, but
Yes.
where did you go? What's gutsy? Is it that creativity? Is it that commitment? Is it the work? What's gutsy about your
No,
nursing?
gutsy. Most nurses come from a very, very gentle approach to their patients, very compassionate. And what's happened is they have been tricked into giving the kind of care that they know is not helpful for their patients. So what they've got to do is they've got to get in touch with their inner gutsiness and stand up for themselves so they can make a safe working environment for themselves and so they can make a safe healing environment for their patients in this for-profit driven business model that we're living in right now. We want to change it to a care-driven service. And so that's going to require some guts and some
It
ability
is.
to stand up to the system.
Heart-centric, we can call it
Yeah.
heart-centric and caring-centric. Thank you very much. My mom was an RN way back in the day. She got her degree from University of Pennsylvania, and my dad was a radiologist, an MD, and he happened to be in a hospital in Queens, New York, having his thumb operated. There was and she was his nurse. He was her patient, and they had a connection. And after he got better, they started dating and they got married. And another relative of mine is an MD who dealt with the hospital situation very strongly, and it was not and is now doing something else. But yes,
Yeah.
it's a tough business world. Thank you very much, Kathy. Pleasure to meet you, and thank you for. I'm glad you liked the introduction. Suzanne Magee is here. Suzanne, I'm putting you on speaker view. We'd love to know what else would you like to tell us about yourself. Please go ahead.
Well, it's great to come right after Kathy talking about nursing and the burnout of nursing. My mom was also a nurse, so we all have that in common. And so, really, I have a corporate background and really looking to help people survive and shine in corporate. The corporate world also drives a lot of burnout, uncertainty, and especially when people are making career shifts and things are changing. And so really it's about helping people reach their goals, whether they're a corporate professional. I'm writing a book about goal setting and how to help people reach their goals without losing themselves. And it's just a time of a lot of shifts in the workplace. So I'm excited to be able to contribute to that shift.
Thank you very much, and we're excited to have you here. I have to ask you, the paintings behind you on the wall, are they yours or did you select them from somewhere? They're very interesting. They're almost like sideways Rorschach, but I don't see I don't see the butterfly unfolding. What are those? The series of three,
Yeah,
I see.
they're a little more abstract actually than most of the art I have in my house. My father's actually an artist, and we talk about creativity, and so I actually have a lot of his paintings. But these ones I kind of picked because they're just a little bit more abstract and fade in the background. But
Very
I love the
interesting.
gold and the black. They're great
I was
colors to
going
me.
to say the same thing. It's subtle. The one to your left, which is to our right, as I look at you, the silver is coming across almost like a jet stream from a plane. There's a lot of motion in that one. There's a lot of movement in that one. They're very beautiful, very
Oh, thank
beautiful.
you, thank you. And I did choose red for the show, so
Well, I love
and
the
I'm
red
honored to
jacket
be on the
anyway.
show.
Oh, you're very sweet. See, I have the lipstick and the red mic and all that good stuff. Shawn Fry is here. Shawn, I'm welcoming you. Happy to have you. I'm putting you on speaker view. And why don't you give us some more information about you? Welcome.
Well, thank you so much. I am so glad to be a part of the show, and very grateful to be on here with everyone and Kathy and Suzanne. So excited about this. My French is not so good, but I can say merci, right? So that's
Pas de quoi.
yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, so I think you did a great job of covering my background, and I think what really kind of molded and shaped me in the book that I wrote was really about how leaders trying to turn around a flawed business model, right? So, in a common theme here, I think within the conversation is burnout, right? So we have people that are ambitious, they want to win, they're really trying to do the best for the work that they're doing. They're hardworking, they have high integrity, but they spend 78 hours a week really burning themselves out, and sometimes trying to do everything, right? So that's just something that I've really learned throughout my transformation, is you can't do everything yourself. And so how do we become better leaders, and how do we delegate? How do we engage our total workforce, right? How do we engage every single person, every single level, and every single day? So I think that's really a key thing there, is really building a resilient team while working on our own mindset, and making sure that we take care of ourselves, our families, without sacrificing our families and those that matter most. So that's really a big part of what the book that I wrote. So yes.
What's the title of the book?
Sustained Business Growth.
Do you have it there? You want to hold it up?
Yeah, sure.
Well, okay.
Yeah, I'll be glad to. It's Sustained Business Growth, how to lead radical change, overcome adversity without sacrificing those that matter most. So you can get that on Amazon, or you can go to www.sustainedbusinessgrowth.com.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll tell you a funny story before we go to the opening quotes. I was in corporate for many, many years. I started business radio for a big software company and ended up hosting and producing 48 different series for business units all over the company, millions of listeners around the world, and other companies hired me before I was also doing my personal show. One day on LinkedIn, you all know I'm on LinkedIn, I saw somebody thanking the company he was leaving to go do something else after many years. And he listed, "Thank you to my mentors. Thank you to all the people I work with. Thank you to the wonderful teams, the leaders who inspired me, the customers who told me what they needed and let me help them with their businesses." After about 10 paragraphs, he said, "And by the way, thank you to the sacrifice my wife and children made along the way."
Wow.
It went right. You all had the same reaction. It went right through me. I thought, first of all, how dare he? And that's not the word I want to use. Second of all, how cruel to even say that in a professional, I'm moving on. And they really sacrificed while I was working in 37 countries and having 25 jobs and working for top leaders and making a boatload of money and having all these awards. And they sacrificed. He didn't mention how often he moved them, or how often their careers were interrupted, or the family dinners that didn't happen. It was just, thank you to the sacrifice of my wife and children. Shawn, Suzanne, and Kathy, I don't know if anybody else saw it, but it bothered me. It really bothered me. I thought it was it was rude, just rude and sad. We'll just leave it there, not to be critical, but to be critical, just sad. And Shawn, that goes to what you're talking about. And you know what they say on the plane, put your oxygen on first before you help the person next to you. Well, take care of yourself, but take care of the people you care about as well. And it's the same for teams. I've had some hideous mentors and bosses along the way. I've been there, done that. And believe me, they had the oxygen on, but they weren't putting it on anybody else. So let's go on. Thank you all for the helping with adding to your bios. Kathy, I have to tell everybody that you have a lot of names. You're Mary Catherine, Kathy Allan RN, HN-BC, HTCP/ISEP. How do you even write a business card, Kathy?
I know, isn't it crazy? And I don't have nearly as many initials as a lot of other nurses have. I think there's a contest to see who can get the most initials. It's crazy.
I haven't seen a real business card with anybody except the guy who's trimming my trees, and he's got a nice business card here. But I haven't seen anything with that. I don't use a business. But we have signatures now in our emails. We have signatures. Mine has like 55 lines. I try to shorten it up when I don't want to frighten people. Okay, or bore them. I've asked each of you to please send me a fictional quote from a movie or TV character or a song lyric. I'm going to read the quote with a little bit of trivia. I love to do my research, and then I'm going to ask you very briefly. Take a couple minutes to tell me what it has to do with your creativity. So Kathy has picked a very interesting quote. I found the movie clip, Kathy. Unbelievable. It's on YouTube, and I marked it. It's at 1 minute and 48 seconds in this scene that's about 3 minutes long. The quote is from Dr. Frederick Frankenstein, the grandson of Victor Frankenstein, played by Gene Wilder, speaking to his assistant, the lovely Terry Garr, when she was just a child almost. The movie is Young Frankenstein, 1974 comedy horror film. Unbelievable. I think it was mostly comedy, directed by the late, great, wonderful Mel Brooks. The screenplay was co-written by Brooks and Gene Wilder. Gene Wilder played the lead. Peter Boyle was the monster. Cloris Leachman was in it. Oh my goodness. Frau, whatever her name was. Marty Feldman was in it. Madeline Kahn, Kenneth Mars, Richard Hayden, Gene Hackman. What a cast. It was a parody of the classic horror film genre. In particular, the film adaptations of Mary Shelley's 1818 novel Frankenstein or the modern Prometheus. I'll go on and on. Anyway, it's number 28 on Total Magazine, Total Films, 50 Greatest Comedy Films of All Time, and number 13 on the AFI, American Film Institute's 100 Funniest American Movies. Unbelievable. Here's the quote, and I don't know if I have ever heard of it before, but the scene is unbelievably funny. Put the candle back. Shawn, have you seen the scene? Or Suzanne, have you seen the scene?
No.
I'll send you the link. You have to go see the scene. You will not believe this between Wilder and Terry Garr. It's got to be a classic. Kathy, how did you find that quote? And what world does it mean about your creativity? Go ahead.
Well, it totally relates to my creativity because what was happening in the scene is that Gene Wilder and Terry Garr were looking for the source of some scary music that they heard, and they were trying to figure out where it was, and they decided it sounds like it's coming behind this wall. They go to the wall, and there's a bookcase there with a big candle next to the bookcase. So they thought, well, we'll lift the candle up and see if anything happens. Well, the bookcase moved, and it swept Gene Wilder into the back of it. And then as it closed again, Gene Wilder was squashed in between the wall and the bookcase. So he says, put the candle back, which she did. And that released him from being trapped there. But you know, that's so much like what happens to mostly actually to all of us in our lives. We may have a goal that we want to achieve, and then there's an obstacle. And then when the obstacle happens, we have to figure out how to get out of that obstacle so we can keep going forward. And I think it happens not just to nurses, but it happens to everybody. So it was a fun thing. I love comedy, and we need to laugh at ourselves more. So that's why I chose that.
We absolutely do. And that's part of being healthy is laughing at ourselves, not taking ourselves so damn seriously. The rest of the scene, I have to add to that, Kathy, is that Terry Garr puts the candle back and the wall spins around and Gene Wilder, and then somehow she takes it, moves it, and it goes back again. And this happens 2 or 3 times. And then he puts the candle back and Terry Garr gets swept behind the bookcase. And then finally they discover what they're looking for. But it's a repeated at least 3 times back and forth with this damn wall, this bookcase going, rup, 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 and one of them is always, put the candle back. I have the clip. I just sent it to Jordan, my engineer. I think he's going to enjoy it. I'll send it to Shawn and to Suzanne as well. Thank you, Kathy. That was delightful. Suzanne has picked a quote from a song. The song is Circle of Life. It's a song from Disney's 1994 animated feature film, The Wonderful Lion King. I saw it on Broadway. I saw the movie too. The song was composed by Elton John and Hans Zimmer. Lyrics by Tim Rice. Does it get any better than this? Performed by two singers I'm not familiar with, Carmen Twilly, who has a very deep female lead vocal voice, and Lebo M, just the initial M, who did the opening vocals as the opening song in the movie. Tim Rice was amazed at the speed with which Elton John composed. He said, I gave him the lyrics at the beginning of the session at 2 in the afternoon. By 3:30, he finished writing and recording a stunning demo. Very interesting. It was nominated for the Oscar for Best Original Song in 94 with Hakuna Matata and Can You Feel the Love Tonight, which won. It was nominated for Grammy Song of the Year. It was number 11 in the UK, number 18 in the US, and it's featured at a lot of Disney theme parks. Okay, for the Lion King rides. Here's the quote. Suzanne, you know I get to it eventually. Here's the quote. There's more to see than can ever be seen, more to do than can ever be done. What a lovely quote. Suzanne, what does this have to do with your curious creativity? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think, well, I mean, I love the Lion King. I love the messaging behind the whole movie and the circle of life. But I think that line in particular is kind of inspiration for all of us, that there's so much out in the world for us to see and explore. And we tend to get in a little bit in our comfort zone sometimes, and sometimes we get creatively stuck too. And if you want to get unstuck, get out there and see something you've never seen before, because you can't possibly in this world see everything that's there for us to see.
Thank you very much. Very, very interesting. And let me go back to the gallery here. Here we've got everybody, and let's go to Shawn's quote. This is from William Wallace. We got a serious movie here, but also back in the previous millennium. William Wallace, played by Mel Gibson. The movie was Braveheart. Epic historical war drama film, directed and produced by Mel Gibson. All kinds of people in it. He played the first, played Scottish warrior William Wallace in the First War of Scottish Independence against King Edward I of England. Interesting story. Development started at MGM when producer Alan Ladd picked up the project from Wallace. But MGM was having management changes. Guess what? Alan Ladd, son of famous actor Alan Ladd, this was Jr., left. He took the project with him. What were they going to do? Mel Gibson eventually decided to direct the film and to star as Wallace. It was produced by his Icon Productions and the Ladd Company. It was a critical and commercial success, praised for its battle scenes, production design, musical score, acting. Some inaccuracies in the history, but everybody forgave them for that. It won the Academy Award for Best Picture, and there was, in 2019, a legacy sequel called Robert the Bruce. It's an interesting name. Here's the quote. Oh, Shawn, this is heavy. Every man dies. Not every man really lives. Oh, Shawn, what does this have to do with your creativity? Please enlighten us.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's... Yeah, so it really is. I think there's a lot of people that I see every day, right? They go to work and they just do the same thing the same way, right? And I think a lot of people just get caught up in the day-to-day grind. And so it's, those that dare to really dream, that dare to really think about what could be, what's potential, and how do we make it a better situation? How do we make it a better life? And how do we get out of that, that mundane daily grind, right? So how do we make it, more energetic, more, tap into people's passion, tap into people's creativity, and bring our best every day, right? So that's really what that quote is about. I do a lot of, going into different businesses and different places, and how do we do things safer, better, faster, cheaper? And so it's really just about how do we tap into people's creativity and their innovation and really light a spark. And so I think it's really tapping into people's hearts and minds and get them excited about coming to work versus just the day-to-day grind, which I think we've all been there in some form or fashion. And it can definitely, get old, get very quick, and you can see years go by. So it's about how do we light that flame, and those that dare to dream and dare to live. So that's really kind of what the quote's about. Does that make sense?
That. Yes, and it reminds me of the quote from the Shawshank Redemption. Get busy living or get busy dying.
Yes.
Remember?
Yes.
See? I come across a lot of quotes on these shows. Even on my Technology Revolution show, which I do under another name, my guests have to bring me quotes from movies or TV or songs that they relate to the topic, which could be the future of manufacturing and AI, or the future of the law profession and AI. We'll talk about hallucinations in the courtroom, or the future of creative writing and AI, or the future of sci-fi novels and AI. But they have to bring a quote. Can you imagine taking these quotes and applying them to a topic like the future of technology? And so, yeah, so I have lists. If you ever needed a quote for something, tap me, because I keep a list of my favorites and I've only got about 200 quotes on it. It really should be 1,000 by now. So thank you all for the quotes. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one, at least one statement from your creativity statements. Kathy's were little American novels. She sent me a lot because I asked her for more. She sent one sentence and I said, just keep writing. And she did. And I appreciate that, Kathy. I've picked your first one, which I think will be very interesting to everybody. I'm going to read it. You don't need to find it. This is not a pop quiz. And I would like you to tell us a little more about it. So Kathy says, as a child, I organized neighborhood kids and put on shows or plays. I grew up in Michigan and we had big yards with no fences. Not very many people had TVs. Wow. And we all played outside. Oh my goodness. If we were bored, we had to find our own entertainment. I'd suggest everyone, let's put on a show. So we made a stage in someone's backyard and we created a skit. I'm going to stop there because I did the same thing in the summer with my friends across the street. We had two big trees and we hung a sheet and we made a stage with a curtain and we put on little shows for our parents or whoever would bother to show up. Kathy, tell us about this. This is fascinating. So go ahead. Tell us more.
Well, all the neighborhood kids would get together and we would put on these shows because there was really nothing else to do. And we would make popcorn and Kool-Aid, and then we would sell it to anybody who wanted to watch the show. And, we all took turns being on the stage. Now, there was absolutely no talent there, but we had so much fun. And it gave us something to do, something to look forward to, and a chance to exercise our boldness, to give that a chance. So that's what we did. And we would also take different plays or different books, and we would stage those. One of them was Little Women. And so the girls would all get costumes and we would reenact that. So that's what we did.
That's more than we did. We just, I think, put on a little song and dance skits for our friends and our families, and that was about it. But I was a neighborhood on Long Island. But interesting, very interesting. Did you have a favorite role, or did you play characters, or were you the stage manager and the director? What was your job?
Well, I wasn't really the director. Everybody felt like they were directing themselves. They didn't want anybody else to tell them what to do. But I was one who would get people together and see if we had all the equipment that we needed, and everybody had what they needed. And it's really interesting because years later, I had a chance to work in Hollywood as a stage manager. And they were looking for a stage manager, so I said, well, I'll do it. And then I ran home and I called my old acting teacher and I said, what do stage managers do? And you know what? They do the same thing that nurses do. They make sure everybody has everything that they need, everything happens on time, and everybody's okay. So it was a piece of cake. So I went from that to producing a show. And then I discovered energy healing with your hands. And I thought, oh, this is much better than putting on shows. So then I left Hollywood and went to work with teaching other people how to do energy healing, how to do what they call healing touch, which comes out of the nursing profession. So it was very exciting, very interesting, and something that I didn't plan on, but sometimes spirit just gives you these opportunities.
Hey, I think I'm on my seventh or ninth career, Kathy, and it has no bearing on resemblance or not much to what I started out doing. And there have been so many things along the way. And when I talk to young people or anybody asks me to mentor or coach them, I simply say, if you see a little bit of light coming through that window or a little crack in the door, it's not completely shut. Open the window, push open the door, and see what's on the other side. There might be an opportunity for you. Don't be stuck.
Right.
Don't stick in it.
And just go for it. Right.
Go for it.
I was at the grocery store and this woman who I barely knew came in and says, oh, come and join our choir. We're going to Carnegie Hall. Are you kidding me? So I joined the choir, and Carnegie Hall has what they call like dark nights, where they need to bring some kind of income in. So they get choirs from all over the country to pay their own way and to go and sing on that stage. So I ended up singing on Carnegie Hall. It was incredible. Now, I would never have gotten there if I had to audition. And
They were
I
looking for a body with a voice attached, right?
exactly.
There
That
you
was
go.
it.
That's
Yeah.
about opportunity. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Shawn or Suzanne, anything you want to say to Kathy about opportunity or about acting out? I think they're in shock.
It was very good. It was very good.
Interesting how just something that happened in the neighborhood and one of your innate interests and skills, Kathy, led to something that informed and helped you do something else later in life that informed different career stages. You That's what we're talking about here is these
Yeah.
things, these opportunities, these things that move us. And as you said so well in the beginning, and when I go to the publicity summit, I tell everybody, you're not creativity isn't just am I a singer, a dancer, an artist, a photographer, a songwriter, an actor. We're all creating our lives, and that's what I'm looking for in this show. So thank you very much, and let me go to Suzanne. And Suzanne, I'm going to go to your statement number 3 and 2 and 3. I'm going to read both of them. You say the world is full of surprises, and I embrace them as a air quotes treasure chest rather than roadblocks. I look for the glimmers in life rather than the triggers to help me focus on beauty rather than problems. Suzanne, those are beautiful. It's like a poem there. Would you please tell us some specifics about what this means to you, please? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that life takes a lot of turns on us all the time, and when I talk about looking at for the glimmers instead of the triggers, a lot of times we get triggered by things that have happened in our life or things that roadblocks that we've had along the way. But in a lot of those roadblocks, there's little blessings, right? Little trigger, little glimmers, a glimmer of hope or a glimmer of light or a glimmer of friendship. And how do you kind of find those? And that's why I call it a treasure chest. How do you find those little glimmers when you might be going through a really rough patch in life, or when you're struggling to meet a goal that you can't actually, you think you're not going to make it, but then you see these little signs that, yeah, maybe you are on the right path. So that's really why I call it a treasure chest, is sometimes you've got to look for it and find it. And when you find it, it's a way bigger surprise than you thought.
And it's nice to acknowledge those surprises, isn't it? It's nice to say, wow, I didn't think about that. I didn't see that. I wasn't expecting that.
Expecting that.
I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting that. Oh, yes. Very,
Yeah, I
very
was
well
going to
done.
say, when people talk often about their stories, when people share stories, they don't they always share stories and the roadblocks that happen along the way, because I think that really is what the journey is all about. Not many people say, "Oh, I reached this goal and it was easy." Like, how often do you ever hear someone say that? "Oh, yeah, that was really easy." No, probably wasn't easy, but the little things that happen along the way actually gave um, the journey just so much more depth and
Yes.
experience, which is great. That's kind of what it's all about.
And also, what it's about to me is the shared experience is that
Yeah.
I am not alone. I am
Yes.
not the only one who found that difficult or had a hard
Right.
time with that, or who stumbled or who said, that seems a little outside of my realm there. I don't know. I'm not the only one who was sad because of that or was scared because of that.
Yeah.
It's that I'm going to say something corny. It's shared humanity.
Yeah.
It's we realize other people are more like us than we thought. Let's just leave it at
Yeah.
that. So thank you
And
very
that's one
much.
of the glimmers, right? One of the glimmers is the connections you make with people along the way as you run into challenges, but you make new friendships or you form new bonds, and that's the special part of life.
There you go. There you go. Okay, Shawn, I'm reading your first one. I asked you for more information and you really piled it on, and I love what you wrote to me. I'm going to read the first one. Let me surprise you. I took a little bit out of your bio and a little bit out of what you sent me, and I think you're going to like this, and I think the ladies are too. Shawn says, I was working 70, 80 hours a week, turning around a struggling business, thinking I was making a difference, until one day my son looked at me and asked, where do you live? That was a knife to my heart. The moment forced me to rethink everything I believed about success, time management, personal fulfillment, how to manage the tension of being a high impact leader and a present father. And now let me get to the core of it. Shawn says, my creative chaos remedy, I love that, Shawn, is part structure, part soul. This is where Shawn gets to be a poet. I blend three creative anchors: journaling to unload, movement to reframe. Kathy's nodding. I can't see Suzanne because my notes are in front of you. Sorry. Journaling to unload, movement to reframe, and rewiring your mindset to recenter. Sometimes it's a walk with my wife, working out with my son, fly fishing with my other son, and sometimes it's reflection. There's a whole book in that, Shawn. That's what I was looking for. I actually, everybody, I went back to Shawn yesterday on Sunday, and I said, I really didn't get in your creativity statements what I'm looking for the show. You just said, I write, I do this, I do that, I turn around management and all that. I said that I want to know the core, the soul of who you are. And this is beautiful, Shawn. So now you talk. I don't want to talk anymore. Go ahead. Your turn. Tell us, what does all this mean?
No, that's fantastic. Great summary. Great summary. So I think it is, right. So you get caught up, or myself and many others that I see, we get caught up in the day-to-day turnaround situations, right? How do we, win, and whether it's business or win in life? And we may, it's how we define success. And so some people may say success is making more sales. Some people may say it's more profit. Some people may say it's titles, but really, thinking about it, and some people it's family, and then some people it is faith. So I think it's just really understanding how we define success and being very clear what that looks like. Something that's really chaos cannot survive clarity. The more clear we get, the more structured we can really kind of reframe that and visualize ourselves doing what success looks like. Well, chaos will start to drift away, right? So we start to we're intentional about how we control that chaos. So that's really what it's about. Is I think there's a lot of time. I learned many years ago about plan, do, check, act. So it's about, how am I going to plan for success once I understand what that looks like? And then how do I actually test and try and experiment? And, sometimes I may not do it exactly right, but I learn, I reflect, and I take some time to write it down, right? So that's something that a mentor taught me many, many years ago, is just write down, how did you win today? Or what lesson did you learn? Harvard Business Review wrote this many years ago too, is like, those that take time to reflect even 15 minutes a day are 25% more productive, right?
Yes.
So it's because we're reflecting, we're learning what's working, what's not. It's a good feedback loop to kind of realign ourselves. The mindset, though, I've found that, probably 80 to 90% of what I do, it's all about mindset. And I think in many things that we do, it's whether it's, work, whether it's hobbies, whether it's family, or whether it's any kind of relationship, it's, what's the mindset that I'm going into this? Is it a growth, or is it a fixed? Do I already have my mind made up? And I have to test my assumptions. I have to really test my perspective and say, is this reality? Is this real? Or is this something that I'm perceiving that could be inaccurate? And I have to be willing to kind of reframe or rewrite that. What's truth? And reprogram my mind, if you want to think about it that way. But what is truth? And then how do we get a more positive, program in our mind, if you want to think about it that way. So
I like that. Tell me, how do you journal? Is it digital? Is it handwritten?
Yeah, so it is still handwritten, right? So I actually have it right here. That's something I have many of these books, and so it's still very handwritten, right? So you can kind of see, but I think it's been very key to me, because I can go back, decades, and I can see what I was thinking, and I can see, where prayers were answered, or things went well, or things did not. What lesson did I learn? Eventually, maybe I can digitize it, but I haven't got there yet.
Handwriting is part of the process. I'm coughing, but I have a question for you. When you go on walks with your wife, is it walking, or is it just walking and thinking? Or I have trouble going for walks because I never know what to think about. That probably sounds silly, but I don't want music plugged into my ear. I'm going to eat a cough drop while you talk. Go ahead, Shawn.
That's a great question. So I think it's probably both. My wife is walking and talking, and I'm thinking and walking, right? So that's, and I'm trying to respond. So it's a little bit of both.
Okay. Thank you
Great
very
book.
much. Kathy or Suzanne, any comments you want to make back to Shawn about journaling? Either one of you journal? I don't. Do you, Kathy or Suzanne? Anything?
Well, I can jump in. Journaling's interesting because I think the last time I had written a journal was when I was young. And then before I started writing the book, I actually found creatively it was very difficult after spending so many years in corporate and writing corporate things to start to be creative. And so I actually used journaling as a way to kind of warm up to writing a book because I had to get back into that personal writing instead of the business corporate writing. So I found journaling really helpful for that, for
Very interesting.
creativity.
Kathy, do you journal at all? Do you
Well,
write?
I journal, but not very much. And what I do is I go to these little classes where they throw out a prompt and you have to create a story in 5 minutes and just keep your hand moving and write that story. So that I find that that really stimulates my creativity.
I
So,
belong, you reminded me, I belong to, I joined, you don't pay for it. It's online, it's free. It's Writer's Digest. And every Wednesday, Robert Lee Brewer, a senior editor at Writer's Digest, throws out a prompt. Sometimes it's 5 or 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, online on a different URL every Wednesday. And I am one of 20, 30, 40 poets around the world. And we write. I usually write 3 or 4 or 5 poems every Wednesday. Some of them are very personal. I'm pretty much the class clown. I write funny limericks. I have the saga of Timmy and Sweet Susie and racking up his father's car against the garage door, and the police. And it's funny. I keep that limerick going. I break the fourth wall as you would in a movie or a play by breaking the fifth line in the limerick. Just goes on and on like a story and finally rhymes, catches up to the AABAA rhyme. But in the months of April and November, we have a prompt every day. It's called Poem a Day Challenge. And
oh,
I write between 3 and 5 or 8 poems every single day for April and November. I've been doing this for 3 years. I think I've written over 700 poems. And
Wow.
my favorite forms are limerick, funny limericks, tricube. Do you know what a tricube is? Ever heard of that? It's three
no.
syllables times 3 lines for a stanza. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 3 stanzas. So it's 27 syllables. So each stanza is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And that way, I love my tricubes. And then I do acrostics where I take the prompt. Last week, the prompt was, I'm blank, fill in the blank.
Yeah.
And I put IMBLANK, and I wrote down for
Yeah.
each letter, and I wrote my poem. I also wrote one, a free form that said, I'm never blank. And then I used every letter of the alphabet. I'm A and B, C and D, E and F, all the way through Z. And then at the end, I wrote, now I've known my ABCs. I hope you come along and smile with me. And I got so many comments, but I want to read you all. We have a few minutes left. I want to read you my poem called My Night Shift acrostic. This is from July 24th, 2024, last year, almost a year ago. And the prompt from Robert was night shift. So it's NIGHT and so I'll try to emphasize the first word. I'm not going to show it on the screen, but emphasize the first word. So here was my acrostic. Never quite really at rest. It's the life of a creative, going, gripping, gyrating, growling, groaning, growing, highs and lows, flowing on a mental Mobius strip. The days are the nights are the days again, shifting off and on, into and out of gear, hoping for unique brilliance even once. It's a calling, command, curse, roller coaster, finding eureka, euphoria amid frustration and fears. Thus is the life of the creative. That's
That
how
should
I
be, yeah, that should be published.
I'm thinking I did a chapbook of my poems about 3 years ago. I'm
Oh,
thinking of
okay.
doing that. I have another cute one. This was blank like blank. So it's BLANKLIKE blank. And this is very funny with single words. Believe in love always. Never kiss a leprechaun in a kayak. Every boat's like a nervous kangaroo. I keep those in my notes because I just find those so silly. So, Kathy, I love doing. And by the way, if you want the link, I'll send it to each of you. It's
Yeah.
it's it's a discipline. It's free. You just sign up on disq.us, discuss or discuss.com. You just get an account, email, and something.
I
And I use
love
a
it.
little icon. I have a different name, not even read on that one. And you just enter your poems, and then
Yeah.
The community part is that we all do a thumbs, nobody's done a thumbs down. You have a chance to put a thumb up next to somebody's poem and make a comment. And it becomes all day long. I go back during the day to see what other people have written and we make comments to each other. I love that. Kathy, that meant so much to me. Suzanne, I was there at that movie theater in 1923. Shawn, wow, that's exactly what I was thinking. And by the way, and we answer each other and it's a community. And I realized that the fun isn't just writing the poems, it's participating with the other people.
Yeah.
And I'm the only one doing funny stuff right now. So, okay. So I have a couple things to share with you. Let me go to the end of my notes here. Thank you for letting me read my poems. I know it's your show, Red. You can read whatever you want. Okay. A couple of quotes. Here's a quote from Rapunzel, voiced by Mandy Moore in the movie Tangled, 2010, 3D, computer animated, musical adventure, fantasy comedy film. And I think you'll all appreciate this. Venture outside your comfort zone. The rewards are worth it. Shawn, that's a good one for you to add to your. And here's one from the Rolling Stones. You can't always get what you want, but if you try, sometimes you'll get what you need. And one more for the ladies. Glinda, the Good Witch of the North, Billy Burke, 1939 Wizard of Oz. You had the power all along, my dear. Okay, let me read you a couple of things here today. Let's see. Interesting. Yesterday, June 15th, 1994, the Disney film The Lion King it was a hit, $300 million. It was second only in earnings to Forrest Gump. The soundtrack went diamond, meaning 10 million copies were sold, a record for the soundtrack to an animated film. I found that. And also yesterday in 1999, after a 7-year recording hiatus, Santana released the album Supernatural, went right to the top, #1, because it contained Smooth. I have played that on my drums so many times. Maria, Maria, Put Your Lights On. It was their first chart-topping album in 28 years. So that was a day in history for Santana. Today in history, I think you'll like this. In 1965, in New York City's Columbia Studios, Bob Dylan finished recording Like a Rolling Stone, about a socialite who falls from grace. The Hammond organ came courtesy of Al Cooper, who formed the group Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Years later, I have a couple more. In 1993, on this day, the U.S. Postal Service issued a book of commemorative rock and roll stamps. Elvis Presley, Buddy Holly, Otis Redding, Bill Haley, Richie Valens, Clyde McPhatter, and Dinah Washington. At least they had one woman in there. And on this day in 1999, Phil Collins got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Let's see, celebrities. Gloria Metcalf, you all know her from Roseanne, and she was Sheldon's mom on Big Bang Theory. She's 70 today. Can you believe that? I didn't realize she's the mother of Zoe Perry, who was an evil person on some show I used to watch. And she was the mom in Young Sheldon, a very good actress. Missy Peregrine, she likes to play cops. She was in Rookie Blue, and she's Maggie Bell on FBI and CBI. Stopped watching FBI, too violent, but she's 43. Okay, here's the big news. Today, I want you all to join me in wishing a happy birthday to Elisa Eckstein. Everybody, just think about it, because she's 24 years old today and she has 27 million subscribers on YouTube and TikTok. Shawn, I'm in the wrong business. She's a digital creator known for pink shirt couple TikTok and YouTube accounts with her ex-boyfriend, and they posted their breakup video and it got 2 million views in 10 days. I'm in definitely the wrong business. Gabriella Whited is 24 today. She only, poor girl, has 1.2 million subscribers. She's an actress who posts fashion and beauty and travel content, and her ab workout videos, Shawn, got 9 million views. I can't believe it. And Tessa, PA, is 29, and she has 2.1 million subscribers, and she posts her Insta Reels on swimmer's hair that got 2 million views on Instagram. Okay, today is Arborist Appreciation Day, Clean Your Kitchen Vents Day. I'll do that later. Fresh Veggies Day, International Waterfall Day, National Fudge Day, Take Your Cat to Work Day. I don't have a cat. And World Sea Turtle Day. June is the month of blueberries, mangoes, fresh fruit, frozen yogurt, iced tea, lemon, soul food, steakhouse, not lemon, soul food, candy, country cooking, camping, foster a pet, skyscrapers, etc. I have to close now in a minute. So let me go to this. All right, I'm going to read my closing, and you're all going to join me in for just a second. Top 10 tips for women in 2014. This is what I used to close my show with. Aspire to be Barbie. The biatch has everything. That was 10 years before the movie. Kathy, you can laugh now. And here my final closing. Life is short. Break the rules. Forgive quickly. No. Kiss slowly. Yes. Love truly. Yes. Laugh uncontrollably. Join me in a quick laugh, everybody. Come on, hurt yourself. There we go. And never, ever, ever regret anything that made you smile. Finally, work like you don't need the money. Dance like no one's watching. When I taught disco in a high school cafeteria for 200 students in my class in high heels, I was dancing on top of a table and I said to them, build me a damn stage out of wood. I'm going to fall. I never fall, but everybody watched. Sing like nobody's listening. I didn't sing today. And love like you've never been heard. We all have. Let your heart regenerate, regrow, and learn to love again. Open your heart. Money talks, chocolate sings. And last but not least, I stole this line from somebody years ago. Thank you for turning me on. I'm going to close with the music, and you're going to stick around, and we're going to talk for a second. Let me go to the closing here.
On Read My Lips
Here we
Radio,
go.
Producer and host, aka Radio Red, invites you to eavesdrop on her live, unscripted conversations with smart, savvy, creative people as she discovers what makes them tick,
Come on, you can
where
dance
they
with
find
me.
their inspiration, when creativity first became their passion, and how their creative process can inspire the rest of us to think out of the box. Enjoy, aka Radio Red's always lively, cool conversations with creatives. Oh, how those lips can talk.
Thank you very much to
On
the
Read
voice.
My-
Okay, that's enough from you. I'm Radio Red. Thank you, Kathy Allan. Thank you, Suzanne Magee. Thank you, Shawn Fry. Shout out to my engineer. I'm getting messages from Zoom here. And we're going to let's wave goodbye to LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Bye-bye. Thank you to our viewers. We had